Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Amina, and if you are new here, I'd absolutely love it if you press the subscribe button and the bell button to be notified when I upload. My videos are mainly based around postgraduate degrees, so PhDs and masters. So on that topic, in today's video, I am going to be talking about how to prepare yourself for a PhD interview and what kind of questions you should expect to be asked during your PhDs and the ones that I was asked during my PhD interview. So if you have got an interview for your PhD, congratulations. That is a huge achievement. That means that the committee, the academic committee, the professor is impressed with your work, is impressed with your experience. So you're already on such a good step. So well done for getting this far. I'm going to break up this video into two parts. First short part will be about how to prepare for your PhD interview, and the second part will be based around the questions that you probably will be asked and how to answer them in the best way. The first thing you need to do to prepare for your PhD interview is to read over the statement of purpose or your cover letter that you wrote when applying. Make sure that you know it inside and out, make sure that you know what you've said. If you've talked about a particular experience that you did, or a particular time in a lab, or a particular method that you used, make sure that you're able to discuss it in more detail. If you said that you've worked with DNA, you've done some microscopy, make sure that you're able to talk about it in more detail, because you will be asked what you did during that method and why you used that method, for example. So definitely make sure that you've read your statement and that you know it inside and out. I've kind of overlapped the first and second point, which is make sure that you are able to discuss your research, your previous experience in lots of detail. And even if you haven't necessarily done any research experience, make sure that you're able to talk about the modules that you studied during your undergraduate, or any other thing that you've done, any other work experience that you've done that could be related. Make sure that you're able to go into depth. Think about your strengths, think about your weaknesses, think about something that went wrong during that time and that you improved on. That's such a common question. The third thing that you should do to prepare is think about why you want to do a PhD. Now I know this sounds like such an obvious thing. Make sure that you are able to articulate this. Make sure that you're able to put this into a sentence. Why is it that you want to do a PhD? Why have you not applied for a job outside of academia? Why is it that you want to do a PhD? It's not good enough to say that you want to do some research, because you could become a research assistant. It probably took a lot of effort for them to acquire that money, so they want to make sure that they've chosen someone who is committed and someone who knows what it is that they have signed themselves up to. So make sure that you've thought about what it is about a PhD that attracts you. It isn't easy to do a PhD, so definitely make sure that you've thought about everything and you show that you're passionate about it. The next thing you need to do is make sure that you've read over and familiarized yourself with that laboratory's techniques, their work. So it's very easy to do this. Just simply go to pubmed.com or Google Scholar, for example, any peer-reviewed journal website. Go there and search in that professor's name, that supervisor's name, and then you'll find a list of their papers. Now it's really important that you're able to kind of know what they've been doing in the lab. If you reference this during your interview, it does look really good and it shows that you have an interest in their work. It is an ego thing at the end of the day, so if the person interviewing you sees that you have interest in them and what they are doing, that does look very good, and it does put you on a good step to securing that PhD. If you're also able to familiarise yourself with other faculty members, so for example someone who you know is in that department and has also done similar work, if you're able to discuss their work as well, that does look very good. Research is never an individual thing, it's always a collaborative team effort. So one lab always works with another lab and they work with another lab, and it kind of, you all come together working on different pieces to piece together the puzzle. So it is really important for you to show awareness of that and understand that this lab works really closely with that lab and this is what they're doing. And if you're able to reference something that does look really good, no one's expecting you to know everything that the whole department is doing, but if you are able to talk about something and read up on something that that lab is doing or who they're collaborating with, which is usually very easily accessible. Most labs have got a website which you can easily search for and see who they're collaborating with and what work they've done in the past and with whom. So that does look really good, and it's definitely something that you can do to prepare yourself before the interview. The last thing you can do to prepare yourself for the interview is to make sure that you've read any papers that you've been sent. For my interview, I was sent a paper that was in current edits, so it had not been published yet, and he asked me not to, you know, not to show it to anyone else, but he did say to me that this is what we're working on at the moment, are you interested in this? Just to kind of reiterate it, this is what we're doing at the moment, are you interested in this? And I spent some time reading it, and it did look very interesting, and he didn't ask me any questions on it in particular, but I have seen other interviews where they've given me a paper and they've said that this is what you're going to be interviewed on, and they'll ask you questions about what you think about the data, different graphs, different parts of the paper, how could you improve this. And like I said, you're not expected to be an expert, but if you're sent something and you're asked to read it, make sure you read it. Definitely don't go there without reading it. That is such a big waste. If you get an interview and you're given a paper to read, make sure that you definitely print it out, read it, try to analyze it, speak to someone who is in the lab at the moment or has more experience, and find out some things that you can discuss about that paper. Moving on to the second part of this video, I wanted to talk about the interview day. So what questions will you be asked, or might you be asked on the interview day if you have more of a kind of formal interview? And even more of a chatty interview, they do tend to ask you most of these questions, and these are the questions that I was asked during my PhD. I will list all of these questions down below in the description bar, so if you do want to try to write up an answer for yourself, I will leave the questions there and you can copy and paste them onto a Word document.